Hello and welcome to the promoted page. Today's video we're going to give some tips for authors, beginning and seasoned authors, geared more toward the beginning, but seasoned authors, I'm sure you can take something away from this too, so let's get started. So the promoted page is a place where authors in all stages of their journey can learn something new. We'll be having a lot of videos coming up, so I hope you'll stay tuned, you'll like and subscribe. So my name's Debbie Stanton, and I'm a published author of 25 books, and I owned a successful publishing company for 15 years. I also published a magazine called Pen It Magazine for authors for about 10 years, and I have helped hundreds of authors bring their dream to reality. And that's what I'm here for. It's my passion to help authors. My motto has always been, everybody has a story, what's yours? So let's get started. So you want to write. Authors love to write, obviously, or they wouldn't be authors. Maybe you've had that vision in of a story in your mind, something that you feel needs to be told, and you want to get published, or maybe you're just interested in pursuing writing as a hobby. This video contains a few of the tips that I recommend to help you get started, or if you're an established writer, it'll serve as a refresher. I bring 25 years of experience. I've made my own mistakes and had my own successes to the table, and I hope that I can help you in your pursuit of writing. So tip 1, create a writing space. If you want to write, you need a space that is exclusively yours. Make it cozy, make it inviting, and find a place that you're comfortable away from the busy life that you have every day. Fill the space with paper, notebooks, pens, pencils, erasers, all the things you're going to need to write. Decorate the place in your style. Let's say you're bohemian, or let's say you like a casual country style. Decorate in a style that makes you feel comfortable when you're in it. Okay, maybe if you've got a pet, put your pet's bed in there. I know when I had my little dachshunds, I would put a little covering here and they would lay in my writing space with me. It makes it more warm and inviting. And then I always suggest having a bulletin board. I've always had a bulletin board above my desk. Put your ideas and thoughts on that bulletin board, so you may need a lot of Post-it notes. Put shelving in your room. I've always had bookshelves in my office with lots of books on writing, books in the maybe the style that you're wanting to write. Just have lots of shelving for lots of things that you want, maybe some candles, things like that. So I tell you something I recommend is the books called The Pocket Muse. They're by Monica Wood, and you can get those on Amazon. They are fantastic for just inspiration. So let's say you're having a day where you don't really want to write. Pick up a copy of these books from Amazon, and I don't think you'll be sorry. All right, so tip 2, start small. Start by compiling your thoughts either on notes or in a notebook. Keep a notebook and pen and pencil with you at all times, anywhere you go, because you never know when inspiration is going to strike. Decide what you want to write. Do you want to write fiction? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to write short stories, magazine articles, just something for your family? Kind of decide where you want to begin. And something I recommend that a lot of authors do, they have a piece of work and they just don't think it's really good, so they'll throw it away. Don't throw anything away. I used to have one of those milk crates that you could hang folders in, and I would label it like poetry, whatever, and put my stuff in there and just keep it. Inspiration can strike at any time, or if you're having writer's block, you can go back and look at those pieces and you might get inspiration. And something I do, if I need a little inspiration or just a story, go sit somewhere and just people watch. Go to the mall, sit on a bench. Go to the park, sit on a bench and watch people. Just take a walk on a people trail, or just kind of watch your surroundings. Again, have that note and pen and pencil with you so that you can take notes. All right, so tip 3, read what you write. And this is very important. Let's say you want to decide, you want to write romance. Okay, you need to get your hands on some romance novels and read them. Okay. It's very important to start reading what you write. If you want to write a novel about, star-crossed lovers, you need to read some books about star-crossed lovers. Take notes while you're reading. That's going to be very important because it gives you some inspiration and some ideas. Be sure to note how different authors of the same genre write. What's their style, and compare it to yours. Don't plagiarize. Make sure you don't plagiarize. That's against the law and very important. So get inspiration from them, but don't use their exact work. All right, let's move on to tip number 4. Write what you know. The easiest way to get started is to write about something you already know. So let's say you like to cook. Maybe you want to start a recipe book first, or just write those recipes down in your own words. That gets you writing. Do you have an interesting story about growing up or your upbringing? Maybe it's a sad story, maybe it's a happy story. Maybe you know someone else who's been through a traumatic experience and you can work with them to write their story. Say you like to garden, write a book on gardening, and just find what your niche is, what you like to do, and that's the best way to start writing. So it's so much easier to write about something you already know than to do research or write about something you don't. If you've never been a cop, it's not going to be real easy to write a crime novel. You would have to do a lot of research, and that may come later in your writing career. So why would you write a book about being a chef, for instance, if you hate to cook? I mean, you need to really write on something that you do love. All right, moving on to tip number 5. Write often, but don't force it. A lot of writing coaches will tell you, oh, you must write something every single day. I don't agree with that. I have days where I really don't write at all other than work. If that works for you, then that's great. Do it. Write every day. If you've got your space ready, you can go sit. Even if you write for 10 minutes, that's fine. But if you aren't in the mood to write, don't force it. Don't write. Most likely, you're not going to write anything that's going to be well thought out or very useful if you're not in the mood. So just skip that day. Be flexible with your schedule. If you have a set time to write, say you write every day at 2 p.m., but you just don't have the inspiration, just say, well, I'm going to come back at 4 and try to write. And then if you do, fine. If not, wait till the next day. You don't have to write every single day. But do write as often as you can, because you will experience writer's block if you go, a month or two. Sometimes you can experience writer's block. So you need to write as often as you can, even if it's jotting down little notes that you can put on your bulletin board. All right, tip number 6, free write. I'm not sure if any of you have ever heard of a free write, but free writes are amazing ways to get inspiration. So they're the quickest way to get into writing is also a free write. And I've done a lot of them in my days, and I taught a lot of them when I taught writing classes. So what is a free write? Well, what do you need to get started? Just pen and paper. Actually, just to do a free write, I would suggest not doing it on a computer, doing it actually on pen and paper, pencil and paper, whatever you write with. How often should I do one? Well, that's kind of up to what's going on in your life. If you need inspiration, if you have writer's block, a free write's a great way to do that. So keep everything. Don't throw anything away. Even if you do a free write, keep them away. Keep them and don't put them away. What a free write is you just sit for a few minutes and you just write. You just simply write. It may be anything. You could write absolutely anything, but it's very important that you just sit down and just get that thing on paper, all right? So let's go on to tip number 7. Write a character analysis. And if you put comment at the end of this video, I can send you a copy of my character analysis that I created. So the best way to know your characters is to write descriptions of them. Write them down on the character analysis or just a piece of paper. So what do they look like? What do they sound like? Are they a good or bad character? And you need to do it for each of your main characters in your book if you're writing a book or story or whatever. So who's influential in their lives? Maybe it's their parents. Maybe it's their best friend. Maybe it's a sibling, co-worker. Who influences them? And are they going to change in the story? This is important. You can write down, maybe they start out being a good character, but they get in with a bad crowd. Maybe they're a teenager or something. So keep that in mind too as you're going. So who are their family members, friends, enemies? Write those down too. And again, if they're an influential character, a main character in the story, you want to do a character analysis of them also. So again, you can see those character questionnaires if you'll send me drop me a line in the comments, and I'll send that to you. All right, on to tip number 8. Have the end in mind. I think just about every author, when they start, they have the end in mind of where they want to take the story, what they want to do with it. So that's something to think about when you get started. Where am I going to go with this? It's okay to write the end first. In fact, one of my novels, I wrote the very end first. So just jot down some notes about where you want the story to end up before you even begin. and refer to your notes often. I would say be flexible. The story in the end may change as you go along the way when you're writing, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Your ending is not set in stone just because you wrote it down at the beginning. So, and then run your proposed ending by someone else and get their opinion. What do they like about it? What do they not like about it? Ask them why or why not. You don't necessarily have to run the whole story about them, but give them a little bit of an explanation of where you're going, where you're starting, and where you're going. Don't change the end until the end, because it may change several times. So don't go back and change those original notes. Refer to them and just kind of watch and see where it's going along the way. All right, tip number 9. Develop a thick skin. This is so important for writers because criticism is a hard thing to take. So you kind of need to develop a thick skin. I mean, our writings are our babies, and we don't really like to be criticized as authors. But you need to learn not to take it personally. Just kind of let the criticism roll off of you. If someone does make it personal, then just remember that's on them, not you. If they want to make it personal, let's just say you're a horrible writer, well, there may be 10 other people that think you're a great writer. So just let that roll off your back. If more than one person says that there's a problem with a certain area in your story, consider changing it. Let's say they say this character just doesn't flow right with the story, then maybe take a look and reanalyze that character and see what you can change. Don't ever delete your original draft. This is something I cannot stress enough. Save it as a new name when you start your edits. So save original draft as original, and then maybe save edit 1 as your second draft. Because I know too many authors who have gone back and changed a bunch of things in their original draft because people told them they didn't like this or they didn't like that, and they listened to them, and they were heartbroken because they wanted their original, and they just had to go back and change it all. So just please, please always save your original draft and do not save over it. All right, tip number 10. Editing isn't for sissies. In fact, I wrote a book called Editing Isn't for Sissies. So don't edit as you write. Just write and come back and edit later. So when your work is done, put it away for a day or two and then come back and reread it. Okay, make any changes. Remember to save that original draft like we said before. One thing to do, also hire a professional editor. I don't know how many authors have put their work out there on Amazon and they get comments like, boy, this is definitely written by an amateur. If you can at all, hire a professional editor. Teachers make great editors. Pastors make great editors. Other authors will sometimes help you out. You don't always have to pay an editor, but if you can pay an editor, make sure you get a reputable one. Rework it. All right, then you start your new draft using the edits that you got from the editor, edits you made yourself. You don't have to agree with everything the editor says, but use what works for you, okay? And have it edited. I can't stress this enough, again and again, and maybe again, until it's the best version of itself. Don't just edit it once and publish it, because it's not going to be the best version of itself. Okay, and then save it as final draft when you're ready to publish. All right. Tips number 11 through 16. Just some quick tips I wanted to add here at the end. Join a writer's group or start one. Libraries make fantastic places to do, writers groups, and then you can network with other authors. Join a book club. Reading books is the best way to learn to write. Go to conferences, events, workshops, whatever you can get to, go to it. Attend book signings. If there's other authors in your area, attend their book signings. That's a great way to get to mingle and to network. Search the internet, but don't take everything literally. Use what works for you. If it doesn't work for you, then it's probably not going to be something you want to rely on. And use only the tips that work for you. Even in the tips I've put here, if it doesn't work for you, don't use it. But remember, it's your work, and you want it to be the best it can be for you. All right, but the bottom line is just write. If you want to write, write. Don't let anybody dissuade you. Don't let anybody tell you can't write. Just write. And even if you don't share it, that's okay. If you want to write for you, say you want a journal, you want to do a diary, whatever you want to do, just write. So thank you for being with me today. If you have any comments or questions, just leave them in the comment section. I'll get back with you. I'll try to send everyone that questionnaire as soon as I can. Once I get to, make sure you include your email. And if you could like and subscribe, I would be most appreciative, because that's how we're going to grow this channel and get more work out to more authors. So you have a beautiful day. Thank you for being with me today, and watch for the next video coming soon. Have a great day.